What's good, everyone? It's your boy Nazi with another video for the channel. Welcome back to DMV Sports Zone. And I'm here to give you guys my must-see DMV immediate reaction to day one and now day two of the Washington Commanders free agency period. And I've been thinking for a couple of minutes now before hitting record how to present you guys my reaction to the last couple of days of the free agency period, the legal tampering period opening up for the Washington Commanders. And I guess I'm just going to go through a good, bad, and ugly for the Washington Commanders thus far. And when I say good, I sort of mean good-ish in the sense that I don't think this team has made a move that I thought was a home run move thus far in the free agency period, which kind of makes sense because they haven't made too many moves thus far, but I'm even including the Carson Wentz move as well. But the good-ish moves, I guess we can call it. The first one, bringing back starting free safety Bobby McCain on a 2-year, $11 million contract. I like that we're bringing back Bobby McCain, right? He was a very good player for us towards the end of the season, although he did have 2 picks against Jake Fromm in the week's 18 game against the New York Giants, the eventual 4-13 New York Giants. So he did pad his stats, I'm not gonna lie, towards the end of the season, probably got a couple million extra from his performance during that game. And towards the beginning of the season, when everybody was trying to figure out the defense, he did not place too well. And I know my guy Tony from ProTech Sports Network did not like how he played throughout the season, and can you blame him? Bobby McCain wasn't that great, and I think a lot of us wanted an upgrade in free agency and wanted a couple of guys that I'll mention a little bit later in this video, but no, we decided to bring back Bobby McCain, 2 years, $11 million. It's not too expensive, although it might be a little too pricey depending on which Bobby McCain we see next year, but good move overall. Also re-signed center Tyler Larson on a 1-year deal, and re-signed special teams ace Troy Apke on a 1-year deal late Sunday. And both moves they're okay, right? Tyler Larson showed some things as a backup center when all of our setters seemingly went down last year with injuries. It was just one after the other, right? Starting with Chase Roulier going down, and he showed some things, so I'm okay with that move. Troy Apke, for as much as we hate what he brings to the table as a cornerback, a starting quarterback, a starting safety on this team, he is a special teams ace, right? And we need a special teams ace on this team, especially with Shazer Everett. His future just, sadly, unfortunately, tragically, just pretty much going out the window at this point. So we needed some specialty studs on this team. Troy Apke is one of them, and I'm assuming it's a relatively inexpensive deal, although we haven't really gotten the contract details for those 2 deals thus far. The bad from the free agency period thus far. One, and I know there's going to be someone in the comments saying, Nati, get over it. But we let go Brandon Sheriff, and we thought we would let go Brandon Sheriff to a team that would be contending, or at least to him getting an absolute bag in free agency. When it turned out that he got a 3-year, $49.5 million contract, admittedly with $1 million extra per year added on to a Pro Bowl, right? If he were so to be named to the Pro Bowl for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it was to the Jaguars. Jaguars paid that contract. So on average, he's getting paid $16.5 million per year, which is less than his franchise tag last year. So he's going to a presumably worse team in the Jacksonville Jaguars on a deal that's less than the franchise tag, right? Less than a deal than a lot of us thought he was going to get in free agency. I mean, did we not want to bring him back? I get it. He's a guard, right? This just shows you should never draft a guard, a top 5 in the draft. I get it. I really do. But I'm telling you, at the very least, we are going to miss him next year. Everybody keeps saying, oh, Wes Schweitzer, he's going to step up. He's going to be a starting right guard. I don't think this team ever thought of Wes Schweitzer as a full 16, 17 game starting right guard for this team. I think they brought him in as a backup, right? Maybe as a contingency plan if Sheriff left. But I still want the team to address the right guard position, right? I don't think it's like Wes Schweitzer could do a pretty good job, but I think they need to add more, at least interior offensive alignment to this team to make sure that in the case that in the inevitable case, in my opinion, that someone goes down or multiple players go down, we have good depth, because losing Brandon Sheriff is going to hurt, man. It's going to hurt. People think he's a bum. Maybe not a bum, but people think he's overrated, right? He doesn't mean too much for this team. But I promise you, every single time a running game was opening up holes, and usually when our pass protection was at its best, that's when Brandon Sheriff was in the lineup, right? And I think it was Mitch Tischler or JP Finley who put out, or maybe a different insider for the team, who put up a tweet. No, I think it was Ben Stanek, actually. Ben Stanek who put up a tweet saying that this team is abysmal. Like, our win-loss ratio is completely down the drain when Brandon Sheriff is not in the lineup. And I'm telling you guys, we're going to miss him. We're going to miss him. We're going to take him for granted, just like we took Trent Williams. Some of us, not all of us, took Trent Williams for granted. And we shall see, man. But it's time to move on, right? It's time to move on. I already accepted months ago that he's no longer going to be a member of this Washington Commanders team, and it is what it is at this point, man. The next bad item. We let Marcus Williams, free safety from the New Orleans Saints, sign with the Baltimore Ravens, just up north, up 95, to a 5-year, $70 million contract. You're telling me we cannot sign Marcus Williams to a contract worth $14 million average value per year? We couldn't do that? Like, instead of dishing out that money to Bobby McCain, we couldn't save that money and potentially make it go towards a Marcus Williams contract here? He's only, 26 years old? Great safety. I know everybody remembers the the freaking miscue, to say the least, that he had against Stephon Diggs, DMV native Stephon Diggs, in the playoffs, right? But ever since then, he's bounced back, and he's been an elite safety, in my opinion, in this league. Sure, he's not been the greatest in coverage, but I mean, I would have taken that contract here in DC. But we decided to not make that move, and I'm placing in the bad category because free safety, in my opinion, was a need. We needed to upgrade in the position and not go with Bobby McCain as the starting free safety, in my opinion, for the 2022 season, but decided to not sign Marcus Williams. Now getting to the ugly. We let J.D. McKissic go to the Buffalo Bills on a 2-year, $7 million contract. Most of us, if not all of us, thought that J.D. McKissic was going to go to a different team. I think the writing was on the wall, right? We weren't going to sign J.D. McKissic because of the fact that he's an aging running back. He's 28, 29 years old. He's third down specialist, admittedly a very good third down specialist, one that was second in the league in catches to Alvin Kamara 2 years ago. And he also has a neck injury that he sustained this season. But we let him go on a 2-year, $7 million contract to the Buffalo Bills. And worst of all, we didn't even extend an offer to him, bro. We didn't even extend an offer to him. Like, why not? At least extend an offer. 2 years, $70 million. You're telling me we couldn't bring J.D. McKissic back? Not just a guy who produced for us, but a guy who was a leader in this locker room, or at the very least was someone who was well liked by a lot of guys and was just a glue guy on this team. You're telling me we couldn't bring him back on a 2-year, $70 million contract? Really? Really? So that's why I'm placing that move, or lack thereof, in my ugly category for free agency thus far for the Washington Commanders. And I will also say this. This is sort of a story, a move that's sort of gone under the radar among Commanders fans, but really among NFL fans overall, in my opinion. And that is the fact that the Bucks offered a 5th-round pick to the New England Patriots to acquire Shaq Mason, 88.3 PFF rated Shaq Mason, an elite guard, an elite right guard in this league. A 5th-round pick they offered up. And they got him, Shaq Mason, to replace Alex Kappa, right, who I believe signed a contract with the Bengals, and to replace Ali Marpet, who also retired. For chump change, a 5th-round pick. And you're telling me, with our situation, with the fact that we let Brandon Sheriff go, we couldn't bring in a Shaq Mason to our team? I get that he's on a pretty sizable contract, but, I mean, he's younger than Brandon Sheriff, and he's more consistent than Brandon Sheriff. I'll give you that, even as a Brandon Sheriff fan. I mean, we couldn't make a move like that? I just don't get it. I really don't. And overall, I mean, the inactivity from this team in free agency thus far, I just haven't liked it. I really haven't. We've let guys go. I mean, our biggest signing was Bobby McCain on a contract extension with us, and even then, he got a lot of mixed reviews from last year. Like, the stats, in my opinion, don't even show the full story, right? Like, he was getting lost in coverage for most of the first half of the season. He did get some things right, again, towards the second half of the season, but how long is it going to take for him to get right in the 2022 season? I don't know. So overall inactivity and just being one of only 9 teams to not sign a guy outside of our team thus far in free agency is kind of disappointing, especially with there being some talk, not a lot of talk, of the team maybe being a little bit aggressive in free agency, and especially with going after Carson Wentz at the quarterback positions, right? I don't know why this team thinks that's it. Like, that's enough. That's all you need to do. Like, you need to surround Carson Wentz with weapons, right? With some guys, again, that I'll mention a little bit later, or at least provide some great studs on this defense through free agency, like a Marcus Williams, right? But we haven't done anything. We pretty much just sat on our laurels thinking that Carson Wentz is the end-all, be-all to our woes, right, over the last 2 seasons and getting us over the hump, when that wasn't even the case for the Colts last year. So, just a lot of head-scratching moves thus far in free agency, or again, lack thereof. And an NA move, not applicable move, was letting Tim Settle go. He signed on a 2-year deal with the Buffalo Bills. I think it was worth $9 million. And I put it in neither the good, bad, or ugly category because, one, it was a move that we all expected, him leaving. And 2, I mean, we were already pretty talented at the defensive line group, right? So, and it is what it is with Tim Settle. I hate to see a Hokie go, right? And he did provide some good production for us when he did get the opportunity to showcase his talents, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. But overall, head scratching, inactivity in free agency. I don't think you could rest on your laurels after going for a Carson Wentz through trade, right? Trading 3 or 2 third-round picks, one that could be a second-round pick, one that's likely going to be a second-round pick if he plays 70% of games. Like, I just don't get the inactivity at this point. I think a lot of fans out there are probably in agreement with me. And lastly, I wanted to get to my top gets in free agency that this team should at least target over the next couple of days. First and foremost, Tyrann Mathieu is at the top of my list. Overall, going into free agency, Marcus Williams was at the top of my list because I thought of free safety as being such a big need and in a position that we needed an improvement in and a position that we could improve in free agency. And Tyrann Mathieu fits that boat, right? Like he's a free safety, obviously, versatile free safety, rangy free safety. He's a Super Bowl champion a couple of years ago alongside Kendall Fuller, number 5 overall cornerback rated by PFF last year, for those of you who don't know. And I think he would be a good add here. I know he's getting up there in age, but he's still 29 years old, right? And he's a free safety. We've seen free safeties play into their mid-30s, right? So I think he would be a great fit here. And the second player that I want to at least target is Bobby Wagner at the linebacker position. I get it. He slipped a little bit last year. I do. I really get it. And I get that he's 31 years old. But, I mean, London Fletcher also came to this team at, 31? At least in his early 30s, and he provided some good impact for us. I think Bobby Wagner would provide a similar impact. He's still a pretty good player. He had 140 combo tackles last year, 2 sacks, and he was still the heartbeat of that Seattle defense, albeit a defense that was a shell of itself, but he still showed some good things, right? He still shows some good things, and I think he'd be a great fit here. And I think the biggest impact that he would have is taking Jamin Davis under his wing, taking even a Cole Holcomb under his wing, and just really being that stud Mike linebacker that we haven't had in a long, long time. I think he would just be great in that aspect. Third guy, Allen Robinson. I'm here in Chicago, right? I would be remiss if I did not mention Allen Robinson, the free agent wide receiver who in 2020, right? All you have to do is go back to 2020. He had 1,250 yards, 102 catches, 6 touchdowns, and the ball was being thrown to him from Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, right? So I think he would be a great fit here in this offense alongside Terry McLaurin. I know a lot of people are complaining or worried about the expense, right? How expensive he would be for us, but the more he waits out, the more he holds out in this free agency period, the cheaper he gets. So maybe we could sign him on a deal that is worth maybe $10 million a year. I don't know, maybe $10, $12 million a year. Is that too unreasonable? Let me know in the comments below if you guys think it is or it isn't. but he would be a great fit, obviously, here in DC, even with the dud season that he had last year with Justin Fields, a rookie, throwing him the ball. Lastly, with J.D. McKissic gone, running back receiver, Swiss Army knife, Cordero Patterson. I know, he's 30 years old. He's about to be 31 on Thursday, actually. But he would be a perfect replacement for J.D. McKissic, right? He had 1,200 total scrimmage yards last year, 52 catches, 11 total touchdowns through the ground and through the air and on the ground. I think it'd be great for us. He'd be great alongside an Antonio Gibson, especially if we could get him on a cheap deal. But I also understand the talk or the reporting that John Keim and others are doing, saying that the team is very much looking forward to drafting a running back in about a month and a half. I get that as well. So there are definitely different avenues this team can take to improve the running back position. But because I think even with Antonio Gibson going over 1,000 yards last year, he had a fumbling issue, guys. He really did. And until he shows us that his ball security is where we need it to be, we need to add to that position. I don't think Jaret Patterson, sorry, man. I know he's PG County native, but I don't think Jaret Patterson will cut it as a guy in our rotation at running back. So, but with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the DMV Sports Zone channel, where I like to post fire content on here as much as possible. Also, go follow our Twitter page at DMV Sports Zone, Instagram page, all lowercase DMV Sports Zone, and our TikTok at DMV Sports Zone as well. And this is my thoughts from day 1 and day 2 of free agency, and also my thoughts on some guys that we should target in the next couple of days with Wave 2, Wave 3, and so on, all free agency being underway. And yeah, that's it for me, guys. And I think Abdullah should be back with the video tomorrow night with the reaction for the next couple moves from us. But yeah, thank you guys again so much for watching. Have a great rest of your night, and see you on the next one. Peace.